In this section, we will learn how atoms change into ions. So we will learn how an atom will become an ion. We already know that there are two types of changes. The first one is physical change and the second one is chemical change. What's the difference between these two? In a physical change, we can mix two or more substances together, however, none of them will change. So no change in the properties and identities of the substances being mixed will occur. On the other hand, in a chemical change, which is the same as a chemical reaction, the situation is very different. And this is because when the atoms of two or more elements react together, they will give a compound. So a compound contains two or more elements which are chemically combined. Pay attention to the term chemically combined. So there's a chemical bond now between the atoms of these two or more elements. Let's take an example, H2O, a water molecule. When hydrogen and oxygen react together, they will produce a water molecule. The two hydrogen atoms are now bonded to this oxygen atom by chemical bonds. This is a chemical reaction. Let's take other examples. Here we have a mixture of sand and iron fillings. This is an example of a physical change. Because when we mix sand and iron fillings, none of these will lose its properties. So sand will remain sand with all its properties, and iron fillings will remain iron fillings with all their physical and chemical properties. We know that a magnet can attract iron. So to separate sand from iron fillings, we will use a magnet. This magnet will be able to attract iron fillings, which will attach to the magnet. So notice over here how the iron fillings are now attached to the magnet. In this dish, we will have sand which is separated from the iron fillings. So this is mixing. We mix sand and iron fillings, however, no chemical change takes place, and this is because even after mixing, sand will remain as sand with its physical and chemical properties, and iron will remain iron with all its properties. So in a physical change, we can mix two or more substances together, and it will be easy to separate them again. Another example is mixing sand and blue copper sulfate solution. We will obtain a mixture of sand and copper sulfate. How to separate these? It will be easy. We will use filtration. So over here we have a filtration funnel containing a filter paper. We will pour the mixture and sand will remain in the filter paper, whereas here we will have the copper sulfate solution. If we evaporate water, we will obtain blue copper sulfate. However, in a chemical change, the compound formed will be different from the elements that it's made from. And actually, we can't get the elements back again easily. For example, if we react sodium, Na, and chlorine gas, Cl2 gas, with heat, a chemical reaction will take place to form sodium chloride, which is solid. So sodium chloride, NaCl, is a new compound having new chemical and physical properties from sodium and chlorine. So sodium alone and chlorine alone are different from sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is a new chemical compound. This is an example of a chemical change. Actually, atoms in a chemical change will react to obtain a stable arrangement of electrons. So atoms are trying to have a stable arrangement of electrons. And they can do this by sharing electrons, and this is known as covalent bonding, which we will describe later, or by transferring electrons, and this is ionic bonding. In the upcoming sections, we will explain in details what's covalent bonding and what's ionic bonding.